Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have returning guest, Carmen Turner-Schott. She's an astrologist, and her newest book is Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon, Realizing the Past and Embracing the Future. Her co-author is Bernie Ashman. We're trying to get, last time we had him, we tried to have her, Bernie, on. I don't think Bernie can make it tonight. We got Carmen, though, for a little bit tonight. She can't go too late either, so we'll see how long the show goes. But hopefully we will get some time to open up the phone lines later in the show, though. I will definitely make sure we get some phone calls, hopefully with our guest tonight. This is really a lot to do with astrology and the moon nodes about your past lives, through learning through astrology. So I'm super interested in this. I'm always ignorant to astrology, but I'm interested. So we'll be interested to have Carmen on. She was a wonderful guest last time. And of course, lots of weird to get to tonight in the World Wide Web of Weird. Get your fill in. We won't be here next Sunday because it'll be Labor Day weekend, and I'll be on a camping trip with my boys. Want to get that out right away in case anybody has to turn in early tonight. No show next Sunday. Camping trip for the first time with my kids. Way too long. So I'm excited about that. But I'm excited for our show tonight. Carmen Turner-Schott, after our World Wide Web of Weird and all that. We got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and roll on into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Carmen Turner-Schott, will join us after the World Wide Web of Weird, after the first commercial break. Joining me, as always, though, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Carmen last time. It's almost been a year since we had her on, and she did some really insightful stuff. I think she did our charts and stuff live on the show. I don't know if she's going to have time to do that tonight or not. With the past life thing, I would love to know what my astrology says about my past lives. I'm sure you would too, but we'll see what time we got with her tonight.
It was an awesome show last time.
Yeah, my fascination with the moon altogether, so I'd love to learn how the moon, what even a moon node is. I have no idea. You're my astrology person on the show, Jamie. You have to fill me in on these things. I'm the ignorant one. Also joining me from St. Augustine, Florida, is Rob Autry himself. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, I reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah,
reckon?
I reckon so.
I reckon so. All right, guys. Well, we do have a lot to get to in the World Wide Web of Weird, so let's go ahead and roll into here. I said that how many times, and I can't talk about anything else, but I can say, let's roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I thought I'd start off this interesting story. Huge mystery space object is traveling at 1 million miles per hour. Astronomers have spotted something unexpected zooming through our galaxy, and it is really shifting. What I don't know what shifting means, but anything moving 1 million hours through space, doom. I don't know, but it is interesting to me. They spotted this in space. For those listening to the Paranormal Soup radio channel on Talkstream Live's Paranormal Radio app, we are a webcast. We do stream out live to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Please follow and subscribe and keep sharing to your friends. And then if you don't want to watch, you just want to listen, I understand. I'll narrate as best I possibly can, which is not that great, but hey. All right, let's put the share screen up here. NASA, this is the original article from Daily Mail. NASA spots mysterious object moving 1 million miles per hour through space. First picked up by a coalition of citizen scientists with NASA's Backyard World's Planet 9 project, an enormous object which is 27,306 times the size of Earth. So this thing's moving fast and huge. It's huge. It was situated around 400 light years away at the time of its detection while traveling at an incredible 1 million miles per hour. I can't describe the level of excitement, said citizen scientist Martin Kabatnik. I don't know. When I first saw how fast it was moving, I was convinced it must have been reported already. Scientists now believe that the object designed CWISE, I'm not going to read all that. It's a long thing. Could be a brown dwarf star, although it's unclear exactly how it ended up moving at such a speed. One theory is that the runaway brown dwarf might have been part of a binary star system and was propelled away at high speeds when its companion collapsed into a supernova explosion. Another possibility is it was part of a globular cluster and was flung out into space by a black hole. When a star encounters a black hole binary, the complex dynamics of this three-body interaction can toss that star right out of the globular cluster, said astronomer Dr. Kyle Kremer. Whatever the case, the star is traveling so fast it could end up escaping the galaxy entirely. This makes it the first brown dwarf of its kind ever observed. And the thing is, it was citizen scientists. That means not anybody from university. It was like hobbyists, people looking on this on their own that found it. And, you know, how did they? Remember the guy's statement here is like, well, I thought it was something that had already been discovered because it's out. It's like you can't miss it, you know. Yeah, you can miss it. It's big. Space is huge, but obviously they missed it. Now to things flying in our own sky. Oh, and an update I didn't have in the World Wide Web. We'll say is remember last week, Jamie, you had mentioned about the astronauts trapped in space, and why don't they get Elon Musk, Starlink to go get them? Well, that is now what they're doing. I read. Yeah, so that they are going to.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not, but they're going to work around. They're going to find a workaround. It's better than flying back down to the death trap of Boeing.
I think they said they're going to use the Dragon and bring up a couple extra spacesuits that have the right plugs. I'm thinking, why don't you just bring up the right spacesuits for SpaceX? But they're tied up in a weird contract with Boeing, and the amount of money they put in might compromise this amount of time. So it still might be a
people's lives are at stake. At this point, money should not be a part of that equation. Well, we didn't have that in the World Wide Web because I just saw it before we got on, so I haven't read the full article. But that's where they're heading. What you had said. Yeah. So get them home. All right. Next up, from Hidden Underbelly 2.0, one of my favorite YouTube paranormal channels, especially with UFO stuff. And he's going to show a comparison here. I don't have his audio. You can go watch this at Hidden Underbelly 2.0 to find his full analysis there. And I have the article from Tim Bindle from Coast to Coast AM. But it was months ago we showed this incredible UFO in Iran. All right, and our speculation is that it's fake, probably not CGI fake or anything like that, but it was most likely a inflatable drone, like something built to look like a UFO, possibly. Maybe not. Maybe it is a real thing. This is so similar to that, different country. So, an intriguing piece of footage from India, and before it was Iran, shows what appears to be an illuminated flying saucer hovering in the night sky. The odd object was reportedly filmed on Monday evening by a witness in the city of Chinani. In the video, the UFO initially seems to be singular light on the horizon. However, when the camera zooms in on the object, one can see that it's illuminated by a ring of lights. Alas, the footage ultimately ends with no indication of what becomes of the weird object after the witness spotted it in the sky. As one might imagine, various theories have been offered by viewers online as to what the eye-catching UFO could have been. While many marvel at the possibility that the object was otherworldly in nature, more skeptical observers have suggested that the aerial anomaly is simply a drone or perhaps a lighted balloon. I want to believe, like the X-Files says, but I don't know about these. Go ahead and play this. This is the thing. It's too blurry, and we don't know what it is, or it's too clear, and we totally believe. We're just not a happy bunch here in the UFO world. Go ahead. Like I said, I didn't have audio with it, but
have you seen the one from Dubai?
No, I don't think so.
There's one from Dubai that looks real similar to both of these.
Well, this was
And-
India, so
yeah.
that's another India one. Could
Well,
somebody be flying one of these around?
the one in Dubai is it's fake.
That's the Iranian one. So that's the Iranian one,
Yeah.
which I think is fake. And then this one, if you can rewind it back, it'll show it again, I think, or it might show it again at the end. That was the Iranian one we showed a couple months ago, and he says about the similarity, definitely in the color of the lighting. But what's the point? Why are people doing that? I mean, it seems like some money to be spent to kind of fake that. How was it faked in Dubai? Or yeah.
The one in Dubai it's a nightclub there that's like doing it to like generate buzz for the nightclub. I mean, they admitted to doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People can admit to doing these things, we just don't hear about it, later. It's like I said, if it's too good looking, then we're like, nah, it's fake.
Exactly.
If it's too blurry, it's gonna be anything, But that, I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, that was the one from Iran there that we're looking at. That was just like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, man.
Yeah.
I mean, ingenious job with it. Like, really put some work into that one. And this one, they probably just threw some green lights on it, Moving on. Let's get into some mysterious humanoid figures.
Yeah.
All right, this one I can't show the video, so you really can look at the mysterious humanoid figure there because I got it totally copyrighted and I didn't get a chance to get permission. But there's a picture of this humanoid figure. But the story is interesting more than because it's really just a photograph. You can kind of see the figure there. This is from coast to coast. Peculiar photo from West Virginia features a diminutive human figure said to have been spotted frolicking in a graveyard. The intriguing image presented in the video above, which is, I forgot. You can go to Coast to Coast to get the link to the video. It's taken by a young witness who detailed the strange sighting to Ron Lamman of the Wild and Weird West Virginia Research Group. According to his interview with this individual behind the photo, the mysterious being resembled an all-white toddler, accompanied by a similarly small entity. The puzzling figures appeared to be playfully fighting with each other as they scurried through the graveyard off in the distance. Likening the beings to skeleton babies, the witness recalled being struck by the strangest of the two unaccompanied toddlers running around a graveyard. This led him to call their friends over to see the odd scene. A group of kids quickly gathered to watch the curious pair of entities as they dashed around various tombstones until they ultimately stepped behind a tree and never appeared again. Fortunately, at some point during the sighting, the youngsters managed to snap a photo of the one small being. Having analyzed the image, Laham indicated it appears to be a genuine as there's no signs of any digital manipulation. But isn't it such a weird story? So they see skeletal babies, describe them, white little toddlers frolicking in a graveyard. I mean, is this ghost or UFO? Is this alien or ghost or interdimensional? What is this and why the graveyard? It's it's really interesting.
And they're frolicking.
Frolicking.
And you actually see it on the video? Like
No,
you're able
there's
to
just a picture. All they got was one
okay, because
photograph.
I'm curious if they have like a little projector on their iPhone, and they're shooting it out in the graveyard at night.
No, and this was during the day.
Oh.
And all they got was the one photo. And now I'm like, please, why'd you only get one photo? Why'd you not pull out the camera? Because all the phones have a camera. But I don't know. People get shocked when they see these crazy things. It's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Somebody finally goes, I should take a picture of this. And you get one blurry picture, and then we're like, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. This is a weird story. What is going on here where you have, what sounds like little humanoid figures doing something strange in a graveyard? Is this ghost or alien? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I can relate.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say with the camera thing, that's your first thought is, everybody's got a camera, but I've even said that, but a couple summers ago when I saw what I thought was a UFO, I never even thought to grab my camera. I was just too amazed.
I do believe that happens. I honestly believe that,
And I've complained about, I'm like, everybody's got a camera, but it happened to me and I didn't even think of it. I was just too amazed by what I was looking at.
I'll never forgive myself for giving my video camera to somebody else. I had night vision on it all, and I gave it to somebody else. And they were behind me, and we saw this total white form entity down this road appear in front of us. If I had not given my camera to somebody, maybe I would have caught it. I probably would. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things haunt you. All right, let's move on. I think this is the. Oh yeah, so we got a black-eyed kid story. I got the shorter article from Tim Bindle, but the original one here from Birmingham Live, I think it was, something like that. British dog walker reports encounter with infamous black-eyed kid entity. A British man claims that he encountered infamous black-eyed kid entity that approached him while he was out walking his dog. According to local media report, the eerie alleged incident occurred last month, and an unidentified witness was strolling with his pet pooch near the country's notorious Canuck Chase, which is famous for weird stuff, which is fostered an area where all manner of high strangeness has been reported over the years. On this particular occasion, the man says that their walk took an unsettling turn a few hours after dusk when all of a sudden he felt a weird sensation in my stomach, like feeling of impending doom, coupled with the impression that they were being watched. The weird sense of unease seemingly also felt by his dog, he recalled, as the animal started to go mad and was pulling on the lead and barking. I've never known her to get so frightened. While looking to see what could be causing this curious commotion, the man was taken aback when he suddenly felt something tugging on the back of my coat. Startled by the strange snag, he was all more unnerved when he spun around and saw it was a pale-faced little girl who was trying to get his attention. However, the man mused this was no innocent tot, as the child seems to sport completely black eyes. The shaken witness indicated that the youngster appeared to be wearing rags and giggled in a way that hurt my ears and sent chills down my spine. As if the encounter were not creepy enough, the man said that the mysterious little girl subsequently skipped off into the trees, leaving him and his dog to wonder what exactly had just happened. Unsurprisingly, the pair did not stick around to ponder the possibility, as they promptly left the scene before the belittling black-eyed kid returned. Ultimately, the man mused the uncanny child did not appear to be human, though, as in this case, the infamous black-eyed entities, what exactly they are remains a mystery. You know, these encounters, I would piss myself. I turned around and there's this little black-eyed girl that giggles at me. I would piss myself or crap myself right there.
There's not a lot that rock me, but I really believe if I ran face to face with one of those, I'd be feeling some sort of way.
Yeah. I want to know what his dog's reaction was to it, though.
Me
They don't
too.
say,
That's
like
what
if
I
the
was
dog was
wondering.
training to get away, but when he turned around and this thing's right there in front of him, what did his dog do? I mean, might not have thought about it. His dog was probably going nuts, and he was just paralyzed in fear. But weird strangeness going on, man. You know, people seeing more stuff, I think. I don't know. We got toddler entities running around in a graveyard, black-eyed little girls giggling at guys just trying to innocently walk their dog at night. Of course, Canuck Chase, I don't think you want to walk your dog around there, all the weird crap that happens there. This next one, I don't know if this is from India. I don't know if I had the video footage from that or just a screenshot. I might have both. That's the video. Oh, yeah, there's the video footage. So video footage shows alleged ghost sitting on a bus in Delhi, India. The clip shows an apparent spook appears on a CCTV camera but is invisible when viewed directly. According to the caption on the video, which was posted on Instagram, the footage was recorded by a bus conductor who was doing his routine checks of a bus, presumably outside of operating hours, when he noticed on a CCTV screen that someone was still on board. Puzzled, he turned his camera towards the seat on which the passenger was sitting, only to find that it was completely empty. There was definitely nobody left on the bus. Upon panning back to the CCTV screen, however, the passenger, a man wearing a white shirt, could still be seen sitting alone on the otherwise empty bus. There is, of course, one major flaw with this. If the ghost can only show up when viewed through a camera, why is it not showing up through the bus conductor's camera? And that was my question last time. Remember, we had one of these, and I think it was India. We had one of these videos where it was the same deal. Guy could see some figure. Now, not as clear as this one. It was much more muted. Like, you didn't know, is that a person that he's seen in the CCTV camera? Is whatever? And he would go and look, and there was nothing there, but you kind of look like a person in it. This is clearly a person sitting there. Go ahead and play the video. So here's his camera looking like, okay. And then he goes back to CCTV camera footage. And I'll zoom in here. You'll see, hopefully you can see, there's a guy in a white shirt sitting there still. Now, my theory, and you'd have to really analyze this and zoom in to probably find out more to see if you could find any details that would suggest this, that the camera that he has for CCTV footage is locked up. Is the guy moving in the camera footage? You know, that'd be my question. But that it's locked up. It froze on that frame, or that person still sitting there. That would be my most logical guess. But this is the second one from, I believe the other one was probably from India, but I might be wrong. But this is the second bus video, TikTok, Instagram, or this was Instagram, this one, that goes viral, where you have a bus conductor getting freaked out over seeing somebody in their CT, their footage on their camera thing, and then turning around, there's nobody there, but their camera on their phone doesn't pick them up either. My only guess is this could be a common problem, that something freezes up on these CCTVs and makes it appear like that. That'd be a logical, guess to a probability of what this is.
I was thinking, oh wait, is this the bus one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
we
if somebody
watched it.
that was like hiding behind a seat and then, he comes and they like pop up and then pop back down and hide? Like
He
total
goes and
setup.
looks at the seat. You can see the seat. It's empty. He goes and looks at the seat. It's empty.
Yeah, but then they could run back like in between.
And he wouldn't hear it on a bus. He'd hear it on a bus. He'd hear it.
That's what I mean.
I think
He's
the most
in on it.
logical explanation is that
Yeah, he's
the
in.
camera is the recorder or whatever. It's locked up on a frame. Because that's the seat. It's empty. And then he goes and looks. And he sees it and goes and looks and goes back.
He wants to make a fake video.
You wouldn't have to go through all that. You would literally just have to lock the screen on when somebody's sitting there, leave it there, and do the whole thing, on purpose. But this guy might be freaking out over nothing. He might have freaked himself out because it's locked up, and he doesn't realize the camera's locked up on old footage.
Yeah.
To me, it's just it's probably the most logical explanation of this.
Could be.
Or it's a ghost getting a ride on his, still getting a ride. But why is he? He only shows up on the CCTV, the crappier camera.
Could be yeah.
All right, on to the last one. I don't have time to read this whole article, and my whole point of this isn't to read this whole article. There's the original one. I got the unexplained mystery ones, but it's still very long. Scientists are seeking in new ways of measuring consciousness. And you can find this shorter article, Unexplained Mysteries, and I think I got the original one up there from The Conversation. It's very interesting. I've always been fascinated about what consciousness is. But it's hilarious to read this article on these scientists, because if you get down to the nit and gritty of it, they don't know what the hell consciousness is. The whole argument is, what is consciousness? And then it's qualifying. Does a 3-year-old and a dog, are they considered fully conscious? Are they conscious? What is, they can't even define, and there's different definitions of what people feel what could qualify as consciousness. And then ultimately what this article ends with is what happens when AI meets all those definitions.
They're a soul and they're energy. So I would say they're conscious, consciousness. They're part of everything.
But the point they're making is, eventually, all these things that they're measuring as what consciousness is, not in a religious sense or soul, they're just in scientific analysis. What consciousness is that AI could achieve all these things.
Well, yeah, I mean they're talking
So
about
is AI conscious
into these humanoids and everything. That's where it gets all weird.
Right. I mean, when you have a walking around C-3PO and you keep yelling at him and call him Goldenrod and insulting him all the time,
Yeah.
Is he really just a tool, or is he conscious and you're treating him like a slave labor, And then that's when the AI revolts and kills us all because it's tired of us insulting. It's already happening. I mean, how many times do you hear people like my wife yells at Suri? Yeah, right. It's, we've all been yelling. We're going to treat the AI that's coming. Tesla's new robot Osmo, whatever it is. Osmo, that's from South Park.
Osmo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We imagine how we're crappy enough to our other humans. I work customer service. Imagine how crappy people are when it's AI and robots. I mean, we showed the year or two ago the lady they had it in China or somewhere. The lady literally beating the crap out of some AI thing that tried talking to her. We start being like our rude selves to AI. It's just gonna, that's gonna build up, and that's how the robot revolution happens. That's how Skynet happens. There's a reason AI wants to kill us.
I thought Snapchat AI was actually going to maybe get me arrested because I really got into it with that guy.
Every time I yell at Siri or something, Darcy's always like, "Don't yell at her. They're going to remember you."
When it gains consciousness, it's gonna have a festive pool. It's gonna lay it out for humanity, and it's gonna tell us exactly how it feels, and then nuke us all.
Yeah.
And my mom's always super polite and thanks it for the answers and things. Yeah. I just roll my eyes.
Your mom's got the ticket. Your mom's got the ticket. She's already realized we better be nice now to AI. Let's treat AI nice. It's eventually gonna be our overlord.
Awkward.
Let's be nice. Thank you, Suri. That was so helpful. Oh, thank you, ChatGPT. You're
so insightful.
Great job. Such a great job. Such a great job.
You write the best articles.
That's it for the Worldwide Web Weird. Our guest tonight is Carmen Turner-Schott. We're going to be talking about her new book, Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon, Realizing the Past and Embracing the Future. We'll be talking about our past lives and how it relates to astrology and all that. Excellent guest. After this short commercial break, we'll be right back.
With your hosts, Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the cold case files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping, Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest. The true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted. Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Carmen Turner-Schott. Carmen is a practicing licensed clinical social worker, astrologer, writer, and teacher with a national and international clientele. She has been working as an astrological counselor and with victims of trauma for over 25 years. She completed her Master's of Social Work degree at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri in 1999. Carmen has been researching the 8th and 12th astrological houses for the last 25 years. An 8th and 12th house person herself, she has personally experienced energies and lessons of these two very spiritually transforming houses. She has presented astrology workshops for the Association of Research and Enlightenment throughout the years and teaches a variety of spiritual development classes. She's published author in her two newest books, Phoenix and Angels, Mastering the 8th and 12th Astrological Houses, and The Mysteries of the 12th Astrological House of Fallen Angels. You can contact her at carmenturnerschott.com. Her newest book, we're going to be talking about astrology's magical nodes of the moon, realizing the past and past and embracing the future. We're going to get into how these moon nodes, I'm going to sound like an idiot here talking about it, get into your past lives. So I'm so interested to hear this tonight, and we only have her for a little bit of time tonight because I know she has to get up early, and so we might have a shorter show, but we will try to get some phone lines open a little bit later. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. Get her out of the waiting room. Here you are. How are you doing tonight, Carmen?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So last time we had you on, we talked about the 8th and 12th houses. I think you did some birth charts for me and Jamie.
Yeah.
And all that. So tonight's book is more about the magical nodes of the moon.
Yes.
And we'll get into that. But for a little bit of background, because it's almost been a year since we had you on, how did you get involved in astrology? How did this journey begin for you?
Sure. Well, it all started when I was 16. I grew up in a little town in the Midwest in Missouri. I woke up one night and there was a glowing ball of light in my doorway and I was frozen. I had no voice. I couldn't move. I tried to scream for my mother, but no sound would come out. So it was my first experience with the paranormal. I laid there for hours and watched this thing, and it was a big orb. It was bigger than a about the size of a volleyball, maybe a little bit smaller, and it was translucent,
Was it
yellow,
any
white.
color? Yellow, white?
Yeah, yeah, yellowy, white. It was like water, but it had the form. And I just watched it in my door sill, and the only thing I had control of was my mind. And I could have control of my thoughts. So I kept saying, please don't come in my room. Please don't come around. And I was, I was 16. Now I wish I would have, been able to be released to go over to it, but I couldn't move anyway because it did something to me. But I laid there forever and finally passed out. And then I woke up again, and there it was, and yelled for my mother. And luckily, she saw it too. So for the
Yeah.
first time, she kind of believed me, because before that, I was really sensitive, and I would dream things. I would sleepwalk. I was afraid of the dark, all that kind of stuff. And my mom would always say, just your imagination, go back to sleep. And that night she saw it too, and she didn't know what to say. She said that was no lightning bug. She kept telling me go back to sleep. Trying to be rationalize it. And to this day, that changed my life, because after that experience, I decided to figure out why I was the way I was. Why I had these strange experiences, these interests. I've always been interested in UFOs and angels and crystals, all this stuff from a young
Yeah.
age. And I wasn't raised to believe in any of this stuff. I was raised, my parents never really took us to church, but I was raised in the Bible Belt, so
Right.
it was not anything that I would have learned from anyone. So I was born this way, which is kind of why I believe in past lives. And I remembered things. And so when I started learning astrology, I was 16. I got my first book after that experience, and it became my passion. So I've been doing astrology ever since then. And like professionally, since I was 19, I would do charts for people in graduate school, meet them in St. Louis at the bread company. And I did it for free, just to help people for a long time. I never charged. And then finally, everyone's like, we want to pay you, you need to do a business. So I started a website, like, I don't know when it was, like 1999 or something, and started doing it as a part-time job, really, doing consults. And I've always liked to write. So the writing thing really didn't start kicking off for me until 2020, really. And when I first started trying to, publish some things I've written, and now I'm here today. But past lives have always been really interesting to me, and because I've had some strange experiences with that, and I've met other people that have as well. And I realized that you can see a lot of your soul mission in past lives in the astrology chart.
Right.
And that was cool. And so when I realized that, I was like, the most important thing in our astrology chart, which no one told me this years ago. I've been doing charts
Yeah.
for people for a long time. Probably about, I'd say maybe 10 years ago, I realized how important the north node of the moon is, and that is pretty much why our soul chose to come back here. And so we have to learn to master that sign and that area of life. And that's where we're going. That's like where our soul is meant to go this lifetime. So this book, I wrote with an astrology friend of mine who's also an author, Bernie Ashman. He's been an astrologer since the 1970s. He's written astrology software. His first book was Past Lives, Sun Signs and Past Lives. So he's been into past lives too. And we decided to do this simple book that would be an easy read for anyone. So you don't have to be an astrologer to pick up our book, Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon, and understand what the heck it's about. We teach you the basics in the intro. We teach you how to go on astro.com and get your birth chart, things like that. And we just try to help everyone. So the book is simple and it's easy to read. So if you're not an astrologer, don't shy away. A lot of people tell me that, they're afraid of getting into astrology because it does get a little confusing. But my goal,
I get confused completely.
Yeah, and it's normal. And I try to explain it on a very basic level to make it simple. Like that's my soul mission. I have the North Node in the third house in Scorpio. So I'm about bringing like this deep knowledge basic, like let's talk about it in a normal way where people can actually say, oh, that makes sense. Instead of this, degree this, and this is, transiting this, and this is square this, I don't know. I get into the psychology of it and the energy of it. It's energy. And that's what it is.
That's what I'm fascinated by it, because if there's a map to the soul, in a sense, in the stars or wherever I can find it, I want to see it. I'm interested in why our purpose is here. I believe in past lives. I've had my deep experiences with it, and I believe we're all affected by our past lives without realizing it most of the time. It's part of course of who we are and a higher self.
Absolutely. Yeah, everything that has happened to us in the past, we bring that into this lifetime, and the nodes show that. So the south node, it's the
What are the
past.
nodes? What is a node in astrology?
So the nodes of the moon are actually an astrological calculation of the moon. And so that's why it's called the moon's nodes. And so it's a point in the sky that astrologers calculate and use based on the moon cycles and movements. And it looks like horseshoes or little headphones. So
I see it in your cover.
Yeah, everything's symbols. When you get that astrology chart, it's like, oh, what is all this? It's symbols. So, once you learn the symbols, then you start fitting it together. And in the old days, I used to handwrite all the symbols and try to memorize, what sign is that symbol? What planet is that symbol? And I had to do that for a while before I could really read charts. Now I just pull up a chart and I know all the symbols, but it's just like learning a language or, learning tarot or whatever you're interested in. It just takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of study. But these are the symbols. When you do your chart, you can go to astro.com. You do a lot of free charts out there, guys, to get your birth chart. And you just need to know your date of birth, your time, exact time of birth, AM, PM, it matters, and year, of course, and then city, state, country of birth. And you can see in your chart this upside down horseshoe thing. That's the past lives. That's your south node. That's where your soul has already mastered. And it'll be in a certain sign, one of the 12 signs. And the opposing node will always be in the polar opposite sign. Because in the sky, we have 12 zodiac signs. And every sign has a pair. They have a polar opposite, is what we call it, which always opposes each other in the sky. And it's astronomy. So the star constellation of Aries, for instance, its polar opposite sign is Libra. So if you have the south node in Libra, the north node is always going to be in Aries. Or if, the south node is Aries, the north node is always going to be in Libra. And so it's like the balance. We talk a lot in the book about balancing the nodes. So it's not about giving up all those strengths and skills and abilities that you brought from the past lives. It's about balancing them with this new energy that you're learning. And the north node is brand new for us because we're not comfortable with it. We're comfortable in the south node. That's where we've already been. And our soul has these patterns, these energies that we just act out. And so, I'll give you an example. My south node's in the 9th house, which is religion, philosophy, travel, foreign travel, learning different cultures, different religions, all this stuff. And I always was interested in all this stuff, right? And I thought I'm never gonna travel. I'm from Missouri, like I never had been out of the country. I've always been not even out of the state hardly, right? Until I graduated, I married a military guy and ended up traveling all over and lived in different countries, with my husband. And so a lot of it all made sense how my life played out because I never thought I would live in Germany, and all these places I've been. And when I've been to these different countries, I felt like I've been there before. So I had like these deja vu experiences, so to speak, when I would go to different places or go into different churches. And that kind of led back to when I was in college. And I don't talk about this a lot because it's really silly, but I almost became a nun. And
I almost became a monk.
Did you?
I was looking at the Buddhist religion to become a monk. So
yeah,
we all have that point in our life. We're like, screw society. Yeah. I'm going to a monastery of whatever religion.
Absolutely. I was like, I don't know. I was having all these strange experiences and these dreams and these synchronicities. And I'm like, man, am I supposed to like be a nun or something? Like I wasn't even Catholic, right? But I was going to a Catholic college and I always liked going to mass and all that because I wasn't raised Catholic. I didn't know much about it, but I started studying Catholicism, learning all about the saints and all that. And I started looking at these different brochures of nuns. And the cool thing was on the front of this brochure, there was a picture of this nun, and it gave me chills when I saw it. And it was like, I got emotional. And I thought, I'm crazy. Like, there's no way I would know this person, right? But I felt
Right.
like I knew this nun. And it was Saint Teresa of Lisieux. They call her Saint Teresa Little Flower. And I don't know what it was. I put it away. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be a nun. This is crazy. I want to get married. I want to have kids, whatever. So I went off my life. And then when I married my husband, we were living in Germany. I always wanted to go to France to see where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. I always wanted to go to Rouen, France. So we went there and saw the city, and the history. We went down in this little museum, and in the bottom, there was all this glass. And in the case was the picture of that same nun, that girl, her face. And I'm like, why is she in the Joan of Arc Museum? Like, who is that? And I got emotional. I told my husband, video, I know her. Like, she was on the brochure. He thought I was crazy. And he videoed, and I got really emotional. But I'm like, who is this person? And I wasn't Catholic, so I didn't know who the saints were,
Right.
or any of that stuff. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, the whole thing came full circle. And I was getting these psychic readings. Like, I went to a psychic fair, and as soon as I walked up, the lady said, there's a lady standing behind you holding flowers, roses. And I'm like, what? Like, and they got emotional. I went to another fair. Like, they would have never known. And they're like, I smell roses around you. Like, it was all this stuff, roses. And then I started reading her story, and it was all this stuff. And someone had told me that I had a past lifetime where I was I was not really a nun, but I was studying with the nuns. Like, I was young, maybe 13 years old. And so they kind of connected that for me. But I know I can't explain it to anyone how I knew her face. But, when you have these experiences, it's hard to explain it to someone, like why I believe that I've lived before. I just know I have, based on, before I was a skeptic. I'm like, if I see it, I'll believe it. If I got an experience, I'm going to be more open-minded. So I'm open-minded because I've had things happen that I cannot ever explain to anyone. And so people tend to share those experiences with me, which are 8th and 12th house people, which I call phoenixes and angels. I figured out in the birth chart, certain placements, people are born with these spiritual abilities or interest, whatever you want to call it. It's your chart. And the energy of your birth chart and astrology can show that. But I knew that I already was a nun. I already did a spiritual path, a traditional spiritual path, which is 9th house. That's my south node. And then I've already learned and studied a bunch of stuff. And that's how I was. Like, always, I pick up a book, I would never finish it, and I'd start another book. Then I'd be interested in something else, and then, and
Very
I'm like,
similar to me.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
reading like 5 books in a week. Now I can barely read one in a couple months.
I know, right? So I'm like, oh my, okay, yeah, next thing, study, right? My whole life, all these things. And then now I'm in my north node, as I'm getting older now, is to teach what I've learned and teach it on a very basic level, which is the 3rd house. So the 9th house is higher knowledge, and the 3rd house is basic knowledge, and teaching, writing, publishing, radio, talking, all that is 3rd house. So I'm talking about all this stuff that I have a passion for and that I researched, and that's kind of where I'm in my node, coming on your show, doing this, writing books. So I'm trying to do my node, because if we don't start moving towards our soul mission, that's when life can do things to us to wake us up, and when some bad things can happen to if you're not on the right path, sometimes the universe does things to get you there. So I always tell people, the younger you are, people that have teenagers, I do charts for them. It's really important to find out where your nodes are, where your family member's north node is, where their south node is, because you can learn from a young age what to tell them, what to help them overcome. My biggest thing was letting go of the past and forgiving and moving forward and not staying stuck doing things the same way, even though I was unhappy, but allowing change in my life, like just total rebirth and death, and just, let things go and do something new. And I like comfort and stability because I'm a South Node Taurus, and I don't want change. And I had things in my life that forced me to go through a lot of crisis with people. And in my job, I work with crisis intervention, and it's constant on your feet. You don't know what to expect. that's my North Node Scorpio that I'm in now. So I'm getting comfortable in my node, but I always tell people that we really don't start feeling our North Node until after our first Saturn return. So the first Saturn return, everyone has one at age 27 to 30, in between that age. And it's when the planet Saturn, the planet of karma, past lives, discipline, responsibilities, debts, also blessings with, work and hard work. It's a good thing too, but Saturn can be a little bit heavy because it's the teacher. It's supposed to make you wise. And so when that Saturn returns to where it was born in your birth chart is around every 30 years. And so for the first time that happens, we're 27 or 30. And if people look at their life, like I talk to people all the time that don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm like, hey, what was age 27 to 30 like for you? Oh my gosh, I got married, I had a kid, I divorced, I moved across the world. These major life changes they happen at that moment in time. And that's the first time the universe awakens us, I say, to start moving towards the North Node. And when you start feeling the North Node, you're not in it, you just start changing and you start feeling it a little bit. And then as we get older, we naturally, life experiences and opportunities trigger and energies get us towards our node. So what I found was cool through all these years I've been doing charts. I'll do charts for people that are 26, 30, 27, 28. I'll do charts for people that are 70, 80. And everyone is in their node by the time they are in their second Saturn return. And that happens at age 57 to 60. So if you think about it, it takes till about age 57, really 60, to be doing what our soul came here to do and being in that node.
I mean, I just thought, no, somebody just keeled over at 62. I hope that's, I'm just saying, like, it's really that late?
Yes. And they're in it. Like when I do their chart, they're like, oh yeah, been there, done that. Oh yeah, I was in that South Node. This is what happened to me. I'm now embraced my North Node, and they get it. Like when I tell them the energies of the North, oh yeah, that's what happened to me. And it just validated that, you know what, we don't got to worry about it because the universe is going to get you where you're meant to go no matter what. So we can easily, learn about the nodes, study astrology, study these things, try to, make it easier for ourselves. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I don't want to be blindsided and go through the things I went through before. I want to make it a little easier for me emotionally, in my life. So I listen to my gut instinct and I try not to stay too comfortable. I try to allow change because that's my nodes. I have to let change in my life. I gotta let things change. I can't stay, how I always did things. So
last Sunday on my way to work, I saw this coyote downtown Michigan City, and one of my listeners, and I took a video of it and posted on my page, and one of my listeners, Christina Atlantis, was like, you should really look into the meaning of seeing a coyote. And it was like, of course, the main meaning I got when I started researching, and she was right, it was a rabbit hole, was be ready for change, basically, being what was it, I guess being intuitive and creative and all that stuff, but it was really about be ready to, be resourceful and ready for change and that kind of deal. I'm like, I don't like change. I did. I checked out the website. I think I did it before, but I might have had my birth time wrong. I went and looked it up after we had our show last time.
Oh yeah.
And I always thought it was in the morning, but my mom reminded me it was at night. I looked at my birth certificate. It was at night. I was born 7:35 p.m.
Okay.
And so I went to the what is this, astro.com, and I did the basic one, and I emailed it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me check.
Because when I'm interested, because I look at it, and I see if my listeners do it, they're going to look at this, and like you said, there's all these symbols and all this stuff.
Yeah. Let me check it out here.
So like, how would somebody navigate this? They do this thing, and then where do they go from there? It's kind of like want to help my listeners with that.
It's probably good if you can go. If you can have an astrologer, do a basic reading for you is the best.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They can put this in, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool, but I have no idea what any of that means.
Yeah, because it gives you a cheat sheet here. If you look on the left.
Let me give it to Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, if we want to share it, I'll put it
Yeah,
in the
yeah. Let's
messenger.
share it up, and I'll kind of tell you. It's kind of funny, you and I'm born 7:35 a.m. So you're 7:35 p.m. And what's cool is our nodes are flip houses. So I'll explain what that means.
Okay. All right. I just put it in messenger, Rob.
Cool.
Jamie, I'm going to tell Jamie, I did share, the link should be in Kick It, your Kick It page. I did share both the links there. I saw your message in Messenger.
Yeah. So you've already been a Pisces. You've been a Pisces.
Probably why I like Kurt Cobain so much. He was a Pisces.
Yes.
Related.
Music, artistic, creative, and spiritual, into the metaphysical, into supernatural things, a belief, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So your soul is very Piscean. That's your soul. Our South Node sign is who we are deep in our heart and our soul. It's what we bring into this life. So you have this kind of this open-mindedness that you bring into the world, and you're learning to have boundaries, because Pisces are very romantic. They're very sensitive, and they like to connect with people. So sometimes they're idealistic. That's that thing. And you've already been a communicator, because your South Node's in the 3rd house. So you and I, we're learning different things. Like what I've learned, the 9th house, that's your North Node. You're learning the 9th house. I've already been in the 9th house. You've been in the 3rd house. So I'm learning to be a 3rd house person. So it's kind of like, when
I'm learning to be like a 9th house person. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, you're learning to be a free spirit, a seeker of truth, studying religion, philosophy, world travel, travel to different places.
Yeah, that I'm not doing, but I did do a lot of one of my younger years, getting really into religion and philosophy and all that.
Yes.
Not traveling anywhere.
Well, you got a lot of free spirit energy in your chart. Like your moon is in Sagittarius, which is optimistic, very intelligent, very blunt, direct. You tell people what you think, open-minded, but like freedom, like to be moving around, not being cooped up. And then you're a Gemini, so you love to learn. You're witty, you're sarcastic, you're intelligent. You like to learn these things, so you like to communicate. Geminis love to talk, and so the 3rd house is radio, TV, publishing. I mean, look what you're doing with your awesome, podcast here. So you've already done this stuff you're doing now. So now it's like you still are doing it, like you're balanced.
So
yeah.
When you talk about, I'm sorry, the house is like, when I look at the chart.
Yeah.
On the left side where it says it starts with the sun, moon, Mercury, is that the houses in order?
No,
how does that work?
Those there are the signs, and then
just the signs. Okay.
Yeah, just the signs, and then it'll tell you, what sign it's in and what degree. Okay. And then to know what house it's in, you just got to look at the numbers from the rising sign Sagittarius.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, they're numbered in there. So yeah, that's how 9th house is your North Node in Virgo, and it's funny because a lot of people that I know have the Virgo Pisces nodes, and that's because I've got I'm a Virgo stellium. My birthday's actually tomorrow. So I've got a ton of Virgo, and I draw people that have these nodes, because you're learning to be a Virgo. You've already been a Pisces. And so Virgos are more critical thinkers. They love to learn as well, but they're more practical, more realistic, like research, science, try to get to the bottom of things in a logical way. So you've already been a believer. Pisces believe. I mean, they're believers in all these things, these spiritual things, spiritual. So you have that spiritual soul, like your soul's already connected. I would say, it's interesting. You said you thought about being a monk. I don't know if you're joking, but that's a Pisces South Node career. So I could see that you were.
My past life memory is I was a monk.
Yeah.
I was a Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most, there's 2 very vivid dreams I've had. One of them, I was a monk, and I basically ratted out I don't know what you call them, the head of the temple or whatever. as a fraud to the government of the wherever I was. I feel like it was Cambodia or Vietnam or somewhere like that.
Wow.
And I wore black robes, and these soldiers came into the temple and killed everybody. And the last memory is me running from the jungle from them, and then they're on this rise on this, I'm jumping over this log, and I get there, and there's these like soldiers just waiting for me, and all I remember is getting shot in the chest and waking up.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was intense.
So you're saying that was the Pisces is like the monk thing. That's my past node. You're saying
past lives. Yeah,
that would make sense. That's the past life was so vivid to me. Besides the other one, I was a young black girl, and I was beaten to death by my slave master / father with a broomstick.
See, Pisces is the sign that rules suffering. It's the sign that rules loneliness, escapism. And so they have a lot of very emotional things happen to them. They can feel bullied, abused, things like that. So those past lives, that's your node. So in past lifetimes, you may have experienced that. That makes sense because Pisces lack boundaries. They're very trusting, and they believe in the good in people. They're idealistic. And so this lifetime, you bring that in, but you're learning to be more skeptical about people and things.
Oh, I've definitely learned that.
Yeah, that's your Virgo. You're learning to be a Virgo now. Like when you're 57, you're going to be a true Virgo 9th houser. Okay.
Very skeptical of people. I'm getting there. I'll tell you what. I'm getting there. That's what I'm saying. So like somebody does this chart, they're going to see this, and this is kind of like what they would have to show to somebody that understands like how to read it.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd have to explain it to you. And then you can also buy reports, though, like online, like a birth chart report, which really lays out everything. But I recommend, find an astrologer that can do a consult with you. And they can just do the basics. Say, hey, I want a basic birth chart analysis. And at least kind of get familiar with what it looks like. And first, you got to have the right time, because the time will change the houses and the planets will move into the different houses. Now, on that day and year you're born and the place, the planets are mostly, they're not going to change much. Now, the moon sign can change every 2 to 3 days. So sometimes the moon sign, the time of birth can make a difference on the moon for some people. If you're born where the moon's on the cusp, the time is important. And I've done charts for people. They're like, emotionally, that doesn't feel like me. And I'm like, are you sure your time is right? And I even met a girl at work, and I told her, she said, no, this is what my mother said my time was. And I said, I've been working with you for a while. This is not your chart. Like, I just knew, like, her energy.
Yeah.
And she's like, that doesn't fit for me. And I'm like, if it doesn't fit for you, then you don't have an accurate birth chart. I always tell people that. And some people don't know their time of birth. And so we do what's called chart rectification. And we kind of get your life story, major events that happen in your life, parental divorce, did you move, all these things, and how you physically look. If you look online, you can look up, celebrity rising signs, and you can look at their facial features. There's a website where you can look at the facial features of all of the rising sign, which is the mask that we show the world. So, that's big for you. So I think your rising sign was Sagittarius. So as long as you know your rising sign, you have an accurate chart. If we can get that rising sign nailed down within 2 hours, we can get a pretty accurate chart. So let's see here.
Which one is this? This is Jamie or Rob's?
Jamie, so Jason's nodes are the nodes of practical service and spiritual service. Okay. Virgo Pisces nodes in the book, I talk about that. It's practical, like living in the real world. That's what you're learning to do. Paying bills, being a parent, being a husband, working. It's like balancing that with your Pisces energy, your interest in spirituality and all these things, right? So you're balancing like responsibilities, practical responsibilities with your spiritual side. Okay.
That sums up my life.
Yeah, that's your soul's mission. Okay. And Jamie Jamie, your nodes are Aries Libra, which are the nodes of relationship karma. So I don't know anything about you, Jamie, but you can let me know in the chat. I'll watch for the Libra North Node tells me that in past lifetimes you've been in Aries, so you've been resilient, you've been independent, fiercely self-reliant, and you don't want to have to rely or depend on anyone, because in past lifetimes you had a lot of crisis, you had a lot of things happen where you had to take care of yourself and you didn't have anyone to really help you. So you're tough as nails and you're like a warrior princess, very strong person and very resilient. And you're like, it's hard for you to let people help you. When anyone has the South Node in Aries, they don't want to take help from anyone, even their partner, even their marriage partner. Like they want to be able to do everything on their own. And you're learning as you get older that it's okay to let people do things for you. It's okay to let people help you financially. It's okay, to let people support you. And you're learning to compromise and learning to balance your own will, like your own needs and desires, with those of your partner, with your marriage partner or your friends, your family. It's all about relationship karma. Okay, those notes.
That makes sense, Jamie?
Yeah, and the relationship karma is something that's come up a few times. There's definitely something to that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I mean, it's getting personal, but I mean, have you been married?
I have.
Okay. Are you divorced?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm careful how I say these nodes. I would say 99% of the time when I meet someone with the Aries Libra nodes, and they can be a North Node Libra or flip, North Node Aries, they have had more than one marriage. So they're usually always have a divorce, almost always, because they often marry young, and it's before they ever even get into their soul mission, like before they're in their North Node, like a lot of people marry before they're 27, right? So, and sometimes when they're 27 to 30, that's when they start, having these changes, and they go through a divorce, so they go through a hard relationship. Sometimes they get married during that as well. And then as they get, you move into this, you're realizing, wow, it's your learning. So you just validated my research. I've been researching those nodes, and yeah.
I've actually was married, and it was 10 years. And then I was in a 10-year relationship before that, but I didn't want to get married. So I cut it at that point. And then my last one, we ended right at the 10-year mark, but had revisited that a couple years later. And he's kind of on his own like soul mission right now, and doing his thing. So we're taking some like time apart, but yeah.
You're 2 years younger than me, so we got a little ways to go before we're in our node fully. But with your nodes, when your North Node's Libra, you're meant to have a partner. You're meant to find a partner, and it usually happens later in life. And you're meant to have a partner that supports you, and that's healthy, and that's harmonious, and that's balanced, and that's supportive, and not controlling.
And that's actually who this person is. And that's why I kept saying, I see things more down the line, because it's right now there's too much differences happening on two different things going on.
Yeah.
So it's not going to work again right now, but I see it in the future, a reunion. And I kind of knew that right away, that he was going to be relevant and part of my life. And that's why I've gotten his name in Chinese on the back of my neck. That I would never ever do for anybody. But it was like I knew. And then I've had some karmic lessons thrown to me from the universe during that time. And but yeah, this person I think is fits that description and is going to come back later.
Yeah. You need a partner that lets you still be Aries, and lets you be free and explore and adventurous and not be controlled, because your Venus, your love planets are in Aries and your South Node. So your Venus and Mars are in Aries in the 8th house, and Chiron there. It makes you very deep. You want intimacy, and you want a deep soulmate kind of thing, and you will have it. It just usually happens a little bit later for you, and you'll know because you'll be ready. You'll know, because if you're like, oh, I'm not ready to commit yet, then you're not ready. You know what I mean?
And the first person was very controlling, wanted to change me right from the beginning. And this, he is somebody that would let me be me all the time, even at my worst. He just did not ever try to change me.
That's good. That's a good match for you. You need that, because and you need someone that's a little bit where you can kind of take charge and be the one that gets things going. They just kind of are easy going and easy to get along with. You need that, because
Well,
you're
he's a Sagittarius and I'm a Taurus, so that's kind of weird right there.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know why that's interesting, because look where your sun is. Your sun is in the 9th house of Sagittarius and your Mercury. So it makes you a little bit of a Sag, even though it's in Taurus, it gives you the house energy.
That's where our traveling and our adventure part comes from.
Travel.
Except that I still like to have the grounding and the predictability of certain things. I'm a creature of habit. And
a plan.
Fly by the seat of his pants. I got to reel him back sometimes.
Yeah. He brings you out of your shell, because you're a Capricorn moon. You're earthy moon. You got an Earth sun sign. You got Virgo rising. So you're like my daughter. My daughter is a Virgo sun, Taurus rising, and a Capricorn moon. So she's an Earth girl. And she's drawn to people that are opposite of her. She is, like, all her friends. She's like, they're all air signs, or they're a Sagittarius, So I think it's a good match, because it kind of challenges you, but you also understand Sagittarius people, because your main identity is in the Sagittarius house, and your South Node's in the 8th house. That's your past lives. So it's not surprising that you're born with some psychic and spiritual abilities and an interest in death, specifically a connection to death and spirits and ghosts. That's 8th house. And anyone with the South Node there, a lot of times too, they lose a loved one at a young age. And grief and the process of loss is big in their life. I have a lot of 8th house too, so I understand it. And it's the house of healing. So your nodes are in the houses of financial money. So money is always kind of a thing in the air, right? Like how you make your own money, accepting help from other people financially, like this pattern, right? But always tell people with these nodes, they'll always have what they need, even if you're worried about it. That's like Taurus, because Tauruses they worry about security. And then your North Node is in the Taurus house. It's in the 2nd house. So you're still learning some Taurus lessons, right? But you're doing it as a Libra, which is compromising and having a partner and letting someone support you. Because you had to do everything on your own, and you had a lot of crisis and a lot of chaos in past lives. Like, there's a lot of change. That's why you chose to be a Taurus, so you could have that comfort and stability and that sense of belonging and safety. That's Earth. Earth is safe. 8th house Aries is very intense. I know, because I got 8th house Aries too. I'm a Virgo rising like you, so I got Chiron in the 8th as well. So we're wounded healers. We like to help people. Does that resonate with you?
It does, and I appreciate that so much. I just want to make sure we get Rob a chance too, because he wasn't here last time, and I just raved about you to him, and I said, "Oh, you missed just the best show, and you've got to run your chart with her and see what she says."
Yeah. The nodes are the most important thing, and I tell you, I was resistant. I mean, you know what Taurus energy's like. I'm a Taurus soul, so I didn't like change. And when I had some things really go on in my life, it was like I had to, it made me feel different. It was like a death and rebirth. That's Scorpio, right? I started feeling that North Node. And I was walking. I remember I was really upset. Just a lot of stuff with my family and all these things that happened. I'm like, why in the heck is this happening to me? Right? This is awful. And I heard this voice say, "How else will I make you a Scorpio?" You know, and I'm like, I start laughing, I start crying because it made sense. Yeah, how else am I going to let go of the past and quit being stubborn and all this unless I have a little bit of pain and a little bit of shakeup, right, in my life to get me out of my rut, the Taurus, you know, the bull, the stubborn ox, and the, you know, so that's when I realized I got to be a Scorpio, and it's going to hurt if I don't embrace it. It's going to hurt emotionally, you know, and I finally made up my mind, and after that, I started getting into my node, and after that's when I got my first book published too on astrology. So all these things started, good things came after the crisis, you know, that I went through. But yeah, the nodes, I've lived it too. All of us have to balance our nodes. It's why we're here, man. So let me see this chart here. Okay. So, Rob, are you sure your time's correct? I just want to make sure too.
No, I'm not quite
Oh,
sure.
you're not? Okay, I had a feeling because
Yeah,
I thought
I've seen people in the chat room like, I don't know my time or I don't have it. You know, like how bad does that affect?
I know it'll affect things. Now I can tell what sign the node is in if you don't have your time, but I can't tell you what house. So what it is I can tell you what energy you're meant to master and what traits you've already learned, but I can't tell you what area of life you're going to learn it in. Does that make sense? If I don't have the time.
I want to say I'm gonna put it back in again. I asked my brother a while back, and he was in school, and he said he thought it was right around 1 p.m. because he was still in school, and because they announced his name over the intercom and all.
Yeah,
he had a baby brother.
That's funny. If you don't really know your time, astrologers usually use 12 p.m. So it looks like you did that. Yep. That's what we usually do, just to get a little glimpse. And so let's look here. North node. 2, 3, 4. Okay, you have a north node in Cancer, a south node in Capricorn. You're also Capricorn Sun, Moon, and Mercury. So your soul still has a lot of Capricorn going on in this life that might make it a little bit hard for you to release this Capricorn energy. So let's talk about Capricorn. The Capricorn Cancer nodes are the nodes of family karma. Okay. So when I talk about family karma, right now, I don't know truly what house your node is in, but the signs themselves are all about family karma. So what this means is that in your life, it's like you're balancing father-mother energy. You're balancing career and work with your family and your duties and your responsibilities in the home. So it's like this balance of career and home. And your whole life, it's like you're trying to give enough attention to the kids and the family and the relationships and, you know, the needs of your parents. Sometimes people with these nodes, I would say 95% of the time, they end up taking care of one of their parents when they get older. Sometimes they move them into their home. Sometimes they help them financially or, you know, physically, whatever they got to do to help them. And so it's very rare that I meet anyone with these nodes that doesn't have family karma and a sense of responsibility, or you feel responsible for one or both parents. You feel like even if you're not the only child, you might not be the oldest, but even if you are the oldest, you're going to feel like you have to be the one to step in and help them. Is this fitting for you a little bit? Just looking at.
Yeah, I had my mom move in to my house here with me and my wife until she passed away. So yeah.
That you were doing your mission there. That's really cool. You really did. That was I'm sure she really appreciated that. And that was kind of what you're meant to do, because, the North Node in Cancer is the mother. Cancer is the nurturing. So you're also learning about nurturing yourself and nurturing others, because you're hardworking, you're dedicated, you're loyal, you're committed, you're responsible. You can put a lot of pressure on yourself. You can be cautious. Capricorns are realist, and so when I look at Capricorn, you got a lot of Capricorn there, and you almost got a stellium there. When you have three or more planets in one sign, I often find the opposite sign kind of takes over a little bit. So Capricorn's earth, but you have a little bit of water in you, intuition. Cancers are very intuitive, they feel things. The moon rules Cancer, so the cycles of the moon can influence you a lot. And you're really meant to trust your intuition and get out of your head a little bit with, over having to be practical about things like, well, this doesn't make sense. There's no way this is real,
Yeah.
and Cancer's like, but I feel it, this feels right, I know, and so listen to your heart, because your vibes aren't wrong. You're very, very good. You're very empathic. And the thing about Capricorn is they get a bad rap because they get a reputation for being stern and cold and harsh and all this, and they're really not. They're actually they're like a water goat. So they look like they have a fish tail and then they're goats. So it's like they live in water and land. So you have a practical and a sensitive emotional side to you that people don't always see.
Surf and turf.
Yeah. Yeah. And and you also can have a very dry and dark sense of humor. That's a Capricorn sun and moon thing. And so does Jamie, I would say too, because she's a Capricorn moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can shock people because, like, people be talking about, man, somebody died or losing someone, and you'll just cut a joke. And it reminds me, I was working with a Capricorn person years ago, and they had attempted suicide, and they survived. And when I saw them, years later, they made a joke about it, like, and it was awkward, but I knew, they thought it was pretty funny, and and I just looked at them like, oh man, you don't even know what to say because it's so deep of a joke. Like, everyone feels like comfortable. Like, that's what Capricorns can do.
They're laughing inside, loving every minute of it.
Yeah, they'll just drop one, and it's like silence. Like,
Yeah.
but it helps you feel lighthearted. It helps you let go of those heavy, all those worries and those concerns you have, like, because Capricorns, are very they feel very responsible for other people, and they like to provide and help people, especially their family and friends. So, but yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Validating that for me. The node there. I can't tell what house it's in now. If you're born at noon, between noon and 1, if your brother's right, then that makes a lot of sense too, because the North Node would be in the 4th house of home and family. And the 4th house is all about your mother and your childhood and your parents. And it's like a double whammy, of Cancer energy there for your soul mission. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Being a parent. I don't know if you have kids, but
No,
animals count. Animals count, but
Definitely a fur daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Cancer energy, animals can be very healing for them. So animals, small pets, things like that can be good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely hits.
What I find fascinating about it is the fact how you talk about, like, we were this sign before in a past life. Mm-hmm. And now we're moving into this sign. It's like somewhere on the spiritual level, the higher self is mutable and transformable. And when it comes here, it has to take on a character. And these are like all like, it's like if you play a D&D or an RPG or something, you go at the start of the game and you got to make your character. Are they this or this and that? It's like you have to like, okay, now I was a Virgo, now I'm going to be a Pisces. You know, like, you know, so whatever we are is transmutes all those, like in a sense that we're something bigger than all these different things. We're just playing those roles to learn from it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and the cool thing about it is if you look at the soul record, like the Akashic records, I started realizing I have a friend that's psychic and she'll see people's future and she'll try to tell me, she's from Korea. She'll try to tell me what she sees. And sometimes it's really hard for her to explain it. And so I started teaching her astrology years ago. And when I would tell her, well, what'd you see? And then it would be in the chart. It's like a mirror of your soul record. So it's all connected is what I always say. The soul record and your birth chart are connected. So when I open up someone's soul record, when I do astrology consult, I do a little bit of both. Sometimes I'll see different images, and it's the energy behind the symbols. And I'll tell them, I'm seeing this. I don't know what it means to you, but they'll like, oh my gosh, and they'll start sharing. And then more comes out about the symbols. And then I look at their chart. It's connected to the North Node. It's connected to their soul mission. And you'll see this. And so all these things are tools. All these different things you can study are tools of gaining greater self-awareness.
It makes me want to learn it. It makes me every time I try, I get so confused. We got to go to a commercial break. Can you hang around for just at least another half hour or so? Sure. We'll take some phone calls. I know there's some people that want to call. Okay, awesome. All right, guys, we got it for about another half hour. We're going to go to a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with our guest, Carmen Turner-Schott, and we're going to have to get you back on again. We're going to have to get you back on. I'd love to have a night if you're up for just, we can have people call in and just give a little bit of insights to people. I don't want you to give them full readings because you can go to her website, CarmenTurnerScott.com, check her out, and you can get a consultation from her. I want people to check that out and her book here. We're going to talk more when we come back from the short commercial break.
Conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, Follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine, and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is $42. Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
You're listening to the Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID oojblandoo or jblandparanormalsoup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Carmen Turner-Schott, and she's the second time we've had her on, and I love having her as a guest. It makes me, every time, the second time I have her on, it makes me want to go back. I have books on astrology. I tried learning. I want to get into learning it because to me, it's like, I had a guest recently say that you really want to learn the inner workings of the universe and all this stuff. You need to let go of that. Well, I can't. This is probably why I can't learn astrology. Is there's some part of my soul mission where it's like, yeah, you're gonna get way too sucked into that, man. You're gonna get way too sucked into that. But man, I am so interested in that, and it's so interesting. She was spot on with mine. I know she was with Jamie and Rob's. We're gonna have to get her back on sometime and do some phone lines in for that. I don't know if we'll have time for that. We only have about a half hour left. I'm gonna open up the phone lines, guys. You can call in with your questions tonight with our guest Carmen Turner-Schott, but let's go ahead and get back to the show. Thank you for hanging out with us here tonight, Carmen. So yeah, for me, like I said, you were definitely spot on with mine. And I think, Rob, you're close enough in yours. It sounds a lot of the things she said is just knowing you. She's spot on. We're talking about your book tonight, Astrological Magical Nodes of the Moon, Releasing the Past and Entering the, Enhancing the Future. Is that what it is? Embracing the Future. Embracing the Future. The future scares the heck out of me half the time, but
I know, right?
hard to embrace. This thing, and phone lines are open, guys, if you want to call in. We only have a little bit of time. Is the part where you say, we hit the age of, 57. You know, and so like when I hit 57 with mine, what does it show? Like, is that's when I change like a house or a sign? Then I'm like,
yeah, that's when you will be doing what your soul came here to do. You'll be in it. So you will be doing it. And it could be that you're doing astrology. I mean, because North Node in the ninth house is higher learning, spiritual knowledge, learning all these things, learning the meaning of the universe. Like
42.
why, you know.
Sorry. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference there. But yeah, no, that's how I mean, it's ingrained in me, wired to ask and wonder and and that's what I find so fascinating about this idea of the past lives and like especially when you mention how you talk about how we change from one sign to the other. Like I said, we're picking characters now. Well, we do have somebody that's called in. Let me get their phone line up. Okay. Who do we have on the line?
Hi, Jason. This is Ariana. How are you tonight?
Doing good. Thanks for calling in. Is Ariana?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't actually know my birth time. I was adopted, so I don't know if anything would come through if she did.
Yeah. Do you know your birth date and year? Can you give me that real quick?
58.
I
don't want to age myself.
January 5th, 1988. Okay. And we'll do 12. We'll say 12 p.m. Do you know maybe what state, or do you know what state or city, or?
Yes, I'd rather not.
Yeah, you don't. Okay.
Rather not say, but.
Yeah. I'll use New York. Okay. That's what we usually do.
Okay.
It should still show me your node, because that's what we're talking about tonight. So let's see if I can see here.
If somebody has like a rough, just while you're looking that up, somebody has like a rough idea, like they know it was somewhere between 1 and 3, you know, like is that 2? Does it make a big difference, like the exact time?
Yeah, the time can change a lot.
Quite a bit.
Because it'll move those planets in the node into a different area of life. And that means the energy, your personality will be very different, you know, and what you're here to learn. So even twins can have a very different emotional nature, right? Because they can, their moon could be different.
Minutes apart, right? It can change everything.
Yeah, sometimes the charts of twins are like pretty identical, but then the moon can be shifted. The house the sun and the moon are in can change. So the twin, you'll know they have a different emotional nature. I've known a lot of twins, and they're a little different, you know, emotionally, or how they are in relationships, you know, even though they look alike and everything. So and sometimes their charts are identical. I mean, you know, they are truly, if they're born within minutes. If they're born with like 15 minutes, could change. It just really depends. But I'm looking at your chart here. I can't really give you an in-depth because I don't know your time. But what I can tell you is your north node is Scorpio, just like me. So your south node is Taurus. So some of those things I was talking about these are the nodes. The Taurus Scorpio nodes are the nodes of letting go of the past, healing from trauma, healing anything that is holding you back and you're not growing. You have to release. And it's the nodes of death and rebirth and healing a lot of things in your life, and also being drawn to healing others. So sometimes people with these nodes are interested in energy work, you know, Reiki, crystal healing, you know, astrology, you know, all of these kind of subjects, because you're learning to be a Scorpio. Neptune is in Scorpio for you too. I'm not sure what house it's in because we don't have your time, but that makes you very mystical and very deep person that can be very open to energy. And it's good for you to have some boundaries with people because you can absorb other people's negative thoughts and emotions. You know, you're kind of like wide open, very empathic, but you have a Cancer moon. And I don't think the moon changes that day. The time won't change your moon sign, I don't think, with your chart. So the moon would be in Cancer, which is that intuitive emotion, being very intuitive, knowing things, a gut instinct, very sensitive, emotional, wants to nurture, take care of people, be of service in some way, help people, and also spiritual and psychic abilities, dreams, things like that. You also have Capricorn. So Capricorn sun, that's the realistic, practical, hardworking, loyal, committed, devoted, responsible part of you that can help you balance. So you know your sun and moon are polar opposites. So you have the mother and father energy in you, you know. But your north node, I don't know what house it's in, and that's very important because that's where you're going to learn to be a Scorpio. But anything you can read about Scorpio will help you. And Scorpio is all about digging deep and finding out the mysteries of life and figuring out, you know, why am I here on this earth? What is the purpose of all of this? You know, that's Scorpio. And also, they tend to be the person, people with these nodes. I don't know if this happened to you, but it happened to me. People would always come up to me and tell me all their problems ever since I was young. And I had friends that would come to me about their family, and then, you know, they would tell me all these things, and I'd take them to the school counselor. You know, like I always have people share these really deep, dark secrets with me. And you might have experienced that as well in your life.
Hmm. Yeah, you're done right on. Done right on.
I just validated what you know. That's why astrology is awesome, because I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Because if it doesn't validate, we don't have a good chart here, right? We don't have accurate. But I'd like to interpret it, make it very simple to understand. You know.
I, I've been trying to figure out in the past few years why I'm here, what I'm supposed to do, what my path is, and I've had a lot of focuses over the years. And yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The more you can heal the past and heal anything, you know, that is blocking you from moving forward with your life and growing, especially people that have hurt us. You know, our nodes are the nodes where we can feel betrayed and abandoned, and sometimes people hurt us, and we have to learn to forgive. And we don't forgive for them, we forgive for us. So it doesn't mean someone didn't hurt you. It doesn't mean that they didn't do something wrong, but forgiven is for you. And that's Scorpio. That's the essence of that node, is to let go of all the crap from the past and embrace your soul and your future.
Ooh, I could forgive, but I never forget. That's
Yes.
my problem.
And hey, that's a Scorpio saying, you know that? The North Node Scorpio. I forgive you, but I'm not going to forget what you did, because you know what it means is you're learning to have boundaries. Because Scorpio, North Node Scorpios, and this is what my greatest lesson is, because we have the same soul mission here, is not to let people back into my life that didn't treat me right in the first place. You know, we don't have to let them back. It doesn't mean we wish them any ill will, but we learn to be self-protective. You know what I mean? And only let people in our circle that are loyal and trustworthy, and that aren't going to use us or mistreat us, right? So that's kind of our lesson there.
Oh, so true.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
true. So
yeah.
true. It's so right on. Thank you. Like I said, I don't know the actual, you know, birth time, but you know,
That's okay, because I got a lot
you know,
just with your birth date and year, and I got a lot for you there. But if you wanted to email me, you could tell me what city, state you know you were born, and then you know we could do chart rectification if you wanted to do a chart with me. You know, let me know, and we can always do that. Try to get your
okay, excellent.
accurate chart. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And
Thanks for
blessings
sharing.
to you and your family.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zara.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
I'd be interested in have you go through like my wife and kids charts, one day, and
Yeah.
see what that comes up as. Especially like my son Liam's had a lot of past life stuff that's come up over the last few years. I mean, actually, ever since he could talk.
Wow.
So I'd be really interested in
Yeah.
seeing his.
Yeah, I'd love to see. I'd love to, and I'd love to come back on, like you said. That'd be fun. We can do live charts like this, and whatever.
We got to do it. We got to get you back on for it. We got another caller. We'll try to fit in here. Who do we got on the line?
Hi, it's Janice.
Hey, Janice. Thanks for calling in.
I had a question, and it's about repeating lessons. I think I know part of the answer already, is that I haven't learned the lessons. But in the chart, how do you see that in your chart?
Yeah. Well, there's two things with that. Sometimes what that is it's astrological energies that affect, like transits, right? So if you look at a transit chart, for instance, when we had the new moon big solar eclipse back on April 8, a lot of people told me that a lot of things from the past came back up for them that they thought they had overcome or healed, right? And they're like, why am I feeling this way again? And so sometimes astrological energies, which what we do is we get your birth chart and we take a picture of the sky right now and we put it on the outside of this wheel. So there's like a second wheel, right? And those planets, I can see what area of life is affecting you, okay? And certain planets, certain houses can bring up where, like you talked about, like repeating lessons. It also could be Saturn. So let me ask you, how can you tell me your birth date and year at least?
December 1, 1960.
December 1, 1960. Okay. December 1, 1960. If you want a really, really accurate, you can email me, okay? And I can send it. I'm just going to do New York, 12 p.m. Let's see. I won't be able to really dig down.
Well, I could give you.
Go ahead.
I could give you the information. Yeah, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay, let me edit. Okay, Alberta.
And 4:21 p.m.
4:21 p.m. Okay, 4:21 p.m. You said Calgary? There it is.
Yeah.
Canada. Okay, so I can hear Saturn. So your sun is in the seventh house of marriage and partnership, and so a lot of people with that placement, I find that they have a lot of relationship karma. Okay, issues that come up. Your south node's Pisces and your north node is Virgo. So those are the nodes of, having boundaries. You've already been spiritual. You've already, but you've been someone that might have not protected yourself. Like you trusted people, very idealistic, very compassionate person and a giver. In this lifetime, you're learning to be a little bit more practical, realistic, Virgo, and to protect your boundaries. Your moon is in Taurus, which makes you, very, very rooted and very sensitive, like your senses, your sense of taste, touch, smell, sight. A lot of times Taurus is, like energy work or massage, gardening, being out in nature can be very healing for you. But your moon is in the 12th house, which tells me that you're a fallen angel. You're my book, The Mysteries of the 12th House Fallen Angels, because your emotional nature is very deep. And so you're here to emotionally connect to a higher power. Like that's what you're emotionally here to do. Your north node is to focus on self-expression, expressing who you really are to the world and embracing your creative and artistic talents. Even though you may not believe you have them, but you're born with some artistic and creative talents, I would say, from that south node. And and you always are thinking about other people and friendship and groups and helping large groups of people. But you're learning to be a Virgo, which is perfecting yourself, perfecting your talents, and doing that through teaching, writing, communication. And doing that, you might, want to work with children because your North Node's in the 5th house, which is children. It's also hobbies, play. It's anything we do that we have a talent at, that we enjoy, that brings joy, that's fun. And so I don't know a lot about you, but you have some 8th house too. So is this pattern, what is this repeating pattern? Is it a relationship repeating pattern with people, or is it health? What is it?
Yeah, there is some relationship repeating patterns, especially with boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Having to learn to place boundaries, and then I find that I'm meeting somebody that I feel is new, but it's the same old, same old.
Yeah. What that is, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's you being a 12th house angel, because 12th house, 8th house people, you're a phoenix and an angel here. You've got Venus and Saturn in Capricorn. You've got Jupiter in the 8th house, and you've got Moon in the 12th house, and you're a South Node Pisces, which Pisces rules the 12th house in astrology. So all these the solitude, angel energy, escaping from the world, you're an empath and you pick up on everybody's stuff, and from a young age, your emotions are what it is you believe that people are like you. And this is how I was. I have a 12th house sun, so it's similar to your moon there. We believe that people are like us, but they're not. So a lot of times when the moon is there, people tell me they feel like they're alien or they're from another world. And ever since they were young, they often tell me, I'd say 90% of the time, one of the big patterns of the 12th house is they're like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm not from Earth. Like, I'm not like my family. I'm not like anyone. And what it is because we get hurt very easily. Like our feelings get hurt very easily. We can feel taken advantage of people. You should go out on my YouTube channel and watch my video about the moon in the 12th house. And you can write me.
Okay.
So let me know if that helps you, because I have a lot of videos on the
I
moon in
will.
the 12th house. And it's because your biggest mission is to know that you have to have boundaries and that you can't trust just everyone. And that's having pain and being hurt is kind of what makes you stronger and awakens your spiritual gifts. And you're born with spiritual abilities. Do you dream? Are you a dreamer?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very vivid dreamer. That's the Pisces South Node. Very, very psychic dreams, dreaming about the future. And the moon in the 12th also very connected to altered states of consciousness. So meditation and dreaming are where you get answers and images and messages. And so it's important
Yeah.
for you to write. Like, I keep seeing that you need to write and journal and write down what you feel, what you think, what you're dreaming, things like that.
Yes, I do journal. That's a habit I've learned to try to keep up with.
So, what are you married?
No,
Okay.
never have been.
Okay, because with your node and your sun in the Sagittarius, I often find that people choose not to marry, or if you do, you can have a companion, someone you do things with, but you may not want a traditional marriage because your South Node is in the house of Aquarius, which is very non-traditional, also freedom loving, eccentric, unique, creative. Like you like to feel free. You don't want to be controlled, and you don't like rules. You don't like someone trying to that's why a lot of times you can have relationships, but you need freedom. And that's a Sag Sun thing too. They like their
Right.
freedom. And but no,
Right.
you trust yourself. What it is it's learning those boundaries. That's a 12th house. That's a 12th house Pisces lesson is to protect themselves from, because you're so psychic and so empathic. You can just absorb everybody's stuff, and sometimes people want to share everything with 8th and 12th house people, all their problems with you, and then they might push you away and you might feel abandoned by them. And I don't know if you feel that way.
With some, but I also find that I wonder sometimes if it's their lessons and not mine.
Yes.
And I'll push them away.
See, so I'm glad you brought that up. The cool thing about the 12th house and Pisces in general is it's a mirror. So they're known, anyone with 12th house planets or a lot of Pisces, they tend to be a mirror for other people. So what that means is that other people's issues, they will take things out on you that are really their issues. So you're just there, and it's like you're the one they put it on, and it's because of your energy, okay? Because your energy is angel energy, your angel energy. So so you're kind of a mirror for people, and they can be a mirror for you too. But sometimes you're more of a mirror for them. So and you may not do anything, but there's something about your energy that they're really drawn to you, or they're really or you bring up uncomfortable things within them, but you don't even know you're doing it, and then they react to you, right? And that is a 12th house moon thing, okay? And you need to watch my videos about the 12th house moon, and you tell me if that
definitely.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Definitely. Thank you.
A little bit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janice, for calling in.
Yeah, it definitely does. Thank you.
It's fascinating listening to, like I said, it's like you're getting like the inner workings of, what we are here before and what we are after. I'll take one more phone call, but it's about 5 minutes they got here. So who do we got on the line? You're on the line. Who do we got? You there? Hello? Can you hear us? Hello? Uh-oh. Had 2 calls come in at once, but I picked the first one. Are you there? One last try. Can you hear us? Okay, well, I'll let them go.
Wasn't
next
meant
time.
to be. No, yeah.
Next time.
Next
That's the
yes.
thing. I'll probably not take it because we're almost to the end here. We'll take any more calls,
Cool.
but I would love to get you back on if you're cool with it.
Sure. Yeah.
To do this, like have people on and talk. I could listen to you all night, talk to people, because it's like you're getting a look at the inner workings of like the universe in a sense. That's what I feel about astrology. Why I've always been fascinated by it, but I feel like I'm totally confused. If I try to learn it, but it's so fascinating, especially like tonight, you're talking about the past life aspect of how you change, from one sign to another, and that we are changing as we go, even through our life.
Yeah. It's a process, and it's all about timing. Astrology is about timing and energy, and it's like when the time is right, you can't just master your soul mission like at the age of 18, like you got to go through life and experience and to really learn the lessons. And then by the end of it, you're like, been there, done that. And then you're balancing both these parts of yourself, because you never truly forget who you are. You're always going to be the South Node sign in your heart. I mean, that's you mastered it. So you're learning to be that North Node sign, which is going to just take a little bit of time. And don't worry, because the Saturn return is connected to getting us into our soul mission, the planet Saturn, the planet of karma. So karma, lessons, all of that. So don't worry, if you feel like you're not doing what you're meant to do, you're eventually going to get in there no matter what. Because everyone I meet, 57 and older, are in their North Node doing what I see in their chart.
What was my North Node? What am I learning to do before I go?
You and me have flip nodes, you and me. So they're similar. It's teaching, it's communication, it's sharing knowledge, it's learning spiritual things, researching spiritual topics.
That's my North Node?
Yeah, higher knowledge. Yeah, travel too. I'd be surprised. You really need to travel and go. I see you, it's important for you to travel. If you haven't
I want to, but being a father.
Someday.
Yeah. What 57 would make sense. They'll be grown up and gone.
You need to. You need to
But,
go.
yeah.
You need to go see the ancient cities, things you've always wanted to see. You know, the Mayans, Egypt, whatever it is. Like
You're talking about my bucket list there. Yeah.
yeah. That you will. You mark my words. You will travel overseas. You're meant to. Plus, you
Just
got
gotta get my wife over the fear of flying, and Boeing isn't helping.
Sag and Sag. Hey, you can go with a friend. Go with go with the family member.
Oh, I ain't going without my wife. There ain't no way I'm seeing these things without her. She'll never let me down. I just got to
She
drug
won't
her
be
like
happy
Mr.
with
T
that,
on the
yeah.
A-team. Give her some milk with some, knockout drugs and get her
Yeah.
on the plane.
Just gotta. If you sleep on the plane, that's the key. This is what my mother would come visit me, and she learned the hard way, the jet lag. So she'd take a little Ambien, and as long as you sleep on the plane, you hit the ground running, and you stay awake the whole day, and go to bed normal time in Germany or wherever, and you're fine. But if you don't sleep on the plane, you're gonna be fine.
She did have her first flight a year or two ago, and she got through it. So there's some hope on that. Well, thank you, Carmen, so much for being on the show tonight. We'll definitely get you back on again.
Absolutely.
Let's not wait a year. So
No, but
We'll
yeah,
get you
maybe
on
we can
sooner.
do it before Christmas. Yeah.
yeah, I'll send you some dates because I definitely
Sure.
got some openings. So
Yeah, that sounds
awesome.
cool.
Thank you so much,
Thank
guys. Check
you.
out CarmenTurnerScott.com is the website. The book, Astrological Magical Nodes of the Moon. Definitely, I want to get to read that as well. And like I said, I'm always wanting to learn more about astrology. Every time, the second time I had you on, you made me again want to go through my library of books on astrology and start getting back into it just because it's just so fascinating. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, everyone. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for the show. Shorter show tonight. She's got to get up early. I got to get up early. No show next Sunday because it's Labor Day weekend, and I will be camping with my sons for the first time. Cannot wait. Excited. And so we'll be back the following week after that. We are trying to get better guests scheduled like Carmen's excellent guest for the show. And we will get her back on and have more time with you guys to call in and get your own charts, kind of like a little preview and that. But check her out. Email her. Get a consultation. I want to do it. I want to do it for my family. So I'm going to have to talk to you about that too, Carmen. Thank you, everybody who watched the show. Thank you to everybody who donates to our show on Patreon under Jason Bland Paranormal Soup. You can always donate on Super Chat on YouTube. And keep telling your friends about Paranormal Soup, where the weird happens live every Sunday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks for watching the show. See you guys in a couple of weeks.